Well, hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna spend a night outside, gonna see whatever comes around, and we will do and answer the questions you gave me on the other video on the community post. I will just try to answer them as honest and as good as I can. But first we set up a tent and make us a home. So this place here is not too far off the road, but it's not a really road that is used a lot. So we're kind of far off the track, but it's easy to get in. That's why I have a second backpack, and so I could spare a bit of weight on my back. And we basically built a small base camp here. And it's a really nice time of the year. We're into fall now. Whoa, it came really quick, didn't it? And the last month I've been so busy with the dog, with Phoenix, and he keeps us busy. And this is the first night that I will not be with him in the same place, which is kind of weird, and I maybe miss him already, I don't know yet. And yeah, it's just the beginning of fall. You see that the leaves are switching colors a bit, and that's really interesting. Fall can be really short and really rainy in Norway, so I will try to gather a bit of that up today and hopefully on other videos. A few days it was raining, and now the sun is out a bit, we have a bit of clouds. We maybe can do some night photography. I brought an f2.8 lens this time. I have my long lens. If there are animals around, I don't know, I have a wildlife camera out somewhere here that I have to pick up later. I can't really see what's on it, I can only see that later, but maybe I can see that there are some files on it. So I've been to this place once before. I really like that it's not super wet and I can camp here easily. It's a bit open, so if you see a bigger animal, yeah, you really see it directly. Yeah, it can be deer and moose, maybe red deer, but then you have to be really, really lucky. I would consider myself lucky in any case when an animal would show up, right? So I have everything that I need with me, food, snacks, and I would just say we build up a camp. That's the most important thing right now. And just enjoy our time outside. So this tent is set up and we will start to put some stuff inside. I have to blow up my mattress and I want to answer the first question. But first of all, thanks to everyone that's watching, but also especially to the people that sent in the question and made it possible that I can make such easy content. But really, thank you guys. I expected maybe to get like 3 to 4 questions, and I hope they were really good, so it's worth to like go through them all and make a whole video. But I think we ended up with like 8 or 9, and that was more than I expected. So the first question comes from Dennis. I think you're from Russia, and I'm really glad that you tuned into my channel, and I heard from you that you also would like to make more videos. And you asked, you wrote, the first question is, what has happened with your hair? And I think that is funny because most of the lifetime of this channel my hair was growing and was a bit longer, I would say. All of my life, like especially my teenage years until I was, I think, 21, I had really long hair, like nearly down half my back or something. I was making a lot of music, and you can check that out. I put it in the description. I just love to play guitar and bass guitar and just make music with friends and play gigs and those kind of stuff. So I had long hair that fitted the music, that fitted the image kind of, but then at some point I cut it because it is a lot of work. And I wanted to, like last year I had some time and I wanted to convince myself that I can still grow my hair long. And it kind of worked out, but I never had it open. And as we got the dog, everything got so stressful that, yeah, I just suddenly decided, no, I won't have it until the end of the year anymore. I also thought about going to Dovrefjell eventually, which didn't happen, and a tour is always easier with hair like this. So that's the reason why the hair is gone. And I think it will be gone for quite some time, because this is just easier for me, even though I like kind of the thought of having long hair. Well, the next words come from KFX1978. Congrats, really enjoy your videos, very informative, inspiring. Thank you for the great words, that's really nice to hear, that warms my heart. My question would be, if we came to visit Norway, can you recommend places or the best way to visit some of these fantastic locations you have been in your videos? And for me, it's a bit difficult to answer the question because in general I don't share locations in itself, but I mean there are of course areas in Norway that I could really recommend. I mean for animals, Dovrefjell is just beautiful. There are mountains, there are lower parts where you have like swamps and a bit more forest. And there's also Rondane, which is really wide and round mountains and just more moose and that animals and no muskox. There's the west coast with Runde, which is a beautiful bird island. It's so famous that I couldn't keep it secret, for example. So take my sharing location with a grain of salt. I'm just trying that the places that I see, that they don't get overflown. But in general, what you saw in the Marker series is I'm just in the forest down here close to Kristiansand. So I can't really say too much about that. It's basically to just go out in this country and look around. I think the best way to date is to travel with a car to get to most of the places and then just enjoy hiking, just passing through national parks. I think that's the best way to enjoy this country and to see most of it. So the sun in front of my tent is already kind of fading. The days have grown so short. It's nearly, the days are shorter than the nights already at the end of September. There are a lot of small birds just coming now around, but yeah, I want to answer one more question at least before I go and look after my wildlife camera and try to pick it up. I'm just sitting right over here in the grass, but Mikael Sjöberg, I think you're from Sweden and you said greetings from Åland Islands, so maybe you actually live there or you were there on holiday in Sweden. But thanks for your question. You wrote, what do you think about the lens selection for the Nikon Z mount? Is it very limited or do you get by using the adapter? I'd love to buy the Z6, but it feels a bit limited lens-wise at the moment. When I think about it, there are already kind of great lenses out for the Z6 and the image quality of the Z6 lenses is really good. I still just own this one, the 24-70 f4, and it's astonishing, and I'm just staying with this one because it's so small and compact. But what I really am missing so far is the long lenses, because that's the only thing I'm really interested in getting. Because the question would be, do they have VR? If not, maybe they're smaller. They're planning on a 200 to 600, which is of course a bit better than having the 200 to 500. Then the f-stop is a question. What can they do with the Z-mount? And they're always talking so much about the Z-mount that you hope that they bring something out, but then the 70 to 200 Z version didn't impress me that much. It was bigger. I'm not sure if it was heavier. And as I'm taking portraits, I don't really need new lenses, because I have this 24 to 70 f 2.8 and I have the old 70 to 200 2.8. I think those are just really good lenses, and they work for my standards really good with the adapter. I have no problems of taking photos. I don't see a reason to exchange them, because if I do portraits mostly I don't have to go far, I don't have to carry that much. I think it's fine. I think the Z lineup so far is fine and the adapter works good. Just bring out the long lenses and then I would be really happy. And now I think I go, it's not too far, and try to find my camera again. I'm just gonna pick up the wildlife camera, filling also up the water in a trench that I know is over there. And I will not drink from the trench. I will cook that water and I will filter it through my bottle. So just to be sure, because that's like not so much moving water, a bit more standing. Vlogging is dangerous, and yeah, I want to be on the safe side. So let's get just over there and hopefully not get too wet feet in the forest. Yeah, I just have to find a way without falling in there to get water out of it. That water came a bit with a price, and my feet, my shoes are a bit wet, but I think it's not too bad. I can just also dry them later, so that's totally fine. But I think that water is enough to eat and survive over the night and tomorrow morning. And now I just leave the water sack here and go further into the forest over here. Just easy content here, but even my easy content is not that easy. Just really beautiful. And right there hangs my camera. It's good that it's still there. We check how much is on there, or if there's anything on it. So you see, 14 videos, that's not too much for a week. That's not too good. So whatever is on that camera, it can't be much. The frequency is not really high, so this place is probably not the best to look for anything. But you always have to try, and it was really a wild guess. Even though it's a really beautiful location, I found some tracks over here as well. But yeah, if there's something on it, if we're really lucky, it's a moose or anything like a deer or something. But I don't think so. I really don't think so. But I will show it to you anyhow. Maybe it's just our face. This, yeah. So now that everything is done that had to be done, I think I go over there where there's still a bit sun to have it a bit on my face and answer some more questions. That's a bird of prey. That's a bird of prey. Let's answer some more questions. I have my second camera here ready with the long lens if something shows up. Written by Tony Morrison. Tony, really always enjoy your feedback. You're a great source for inspiration for this channel, actually, relating to your question. You said, congrats man, to the 1,000 subscriber question for the video. How do you stay inspired with wildlife photography and motivated? You work so hard to find the pine marten, and I respect it very much. I'm glad that you respect it really much, because that was on one side really motivating and in the end really frustrating. And since I'm a human that has a lot of mood swings, and I'm not sure if I suffer from BPD, BPD. You can look it up if you want to yourself. I'm not going to cry about it, but in general I just have a lot of mood swings. So for me it's sometimes really difficult to find motivation, sometimes just really frustrated without any reason. And if I find motivation, for example with the pine marten, it's really, really strong. Yeah, sometimes it's just really hard to stay motivated and inspired. But I think one thing is really for sure, and that grew with the wildlife photography on me, that wildlife photography in general is really motivating and inspiring for me. There's so many animals to look up and to hunt after, to just find. It's hard in the first place. And when I started with the wildlife cameras, that was kind of the point where I started with like really getting into it and looking up after the animals, what behavior they show. Because I did biology as a studies, and I know a lot of neurology and hormones, and I bet I forgot more than 50% of that already in the last 2 years since my studies were done. But I don't really know so much about like the specific animals and what they do and what they find. Oh yeah, mosquitoes around. So that's really motivating in itself, and I think in wildlife photography it's really good that every scene is different. You can go to a place where people have taken a lot of landscape shots, and you probably will get a shot that looks alike. Of course, conditions change, and for a good landscape photo you need persistent in any case. But in wildlife photography, it depends really on your subject, how it turns out. And I think that's so great, because no single photo is the same. If I go out with another person, we get photos that are kind of alike, but they will never be exactly the same. And they change quite a lot through the animal, through the personality that you take up. And I think that's really inspiring in wildlife photography. But I think what also kept me going over the last years is really, I fell a bit out of photography for some time. And then I started to take more videos, and then I learned more about that, and that kept me going for so much more time. And I discovered there's so much more to learn and explore, and that keeps my inspiration for photography and my motivation really going. But as I said, I have really a lot of mood swings, so it goes like this. And if I'm up, then I get really a lot of inspiration, and I just could stay out for the whole time, and I would really enjoy that. But if I'm also really tired, like last weeks, I don't get anything done. Not anything, but there are just sometimes other things to do, right? I want to shortly thank my first Patreons, Jonas Pfeiffer on the Marker tier and Rala of the Vale Horizons tier.